welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me as always is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
So, yeah, it's Saturday now, and we are going to go over episode 2 of Clone Wars, and I don't remember the name of it. Do you remember the title? Is like Echo...
A distant echo.
A distant echo, okay. Yeah, I was like, I kind of froze there. I was like, don't remember. So
yeah, that's the problem. I just rewatched it, so he's going to be leaning on me to remember all those details.
No, I actually
wrote something.
I actually rewatched it too while I was kind of waiting. And well, we kind of went halfsies on Disney Plus. Don't tell Disney that. But I pushed in to the episode, and I think you were at the end of it because it was like running at the end of the episode. So I was like, I wonder if I rewind this, will it matter? I guess it didn't.
I didn't have anything in mind, so.
Yeah, I guess I would have gotten a text or something saying, "Oh, you're screwed it up. Get off the phone, Mom. I need to use the internet." Okay.
Yeah. So we always kind of run into that issue because we started rewatching it at different times. So I'm sure I messed yours up too. Of course, you finished it now, but I was always seeing like season 4, season 5. Like, I'm only on season 2 here.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I know. I'd go back in because like I was doing my rewatch and I had gotten. I think I skipped a little bit because I had watched maybe like up to season 3 somewhat recently. So I think I started at like season 4 and then I finally got up to 7 and I'm going in the app and it's like season 1, season 2. Oh, well, he's doing a rewatch as well. So.
Yeah, well, it's been a long time since I've watched those seasons, so I'd kind of forgotten half the episodes.
No, I mean, and it's a lot. I mean, 7 seasons of this show is a lot to remember. But yeah, I guess let's go ahead and get into the episode. I guess just general thoughts beforehand. What do you think of this second episode?
Much more eventful than the first, for sure. We had some better fight scene, the big reveal at the end, obviously. Yeah, it was a good episode all around. Kind of some funny moments in the beginning with Anakin too. So yeah, good, well-rounded episode.
Yeah. I thought so. I thought it felt like it went by a lot quicker than the first episode. Obviously, we did get kind of one reveal that folks were a little bit worried about, and then obviously the reveal at the end. We were kind of talking last week that we figured that episode 2 was going to be the continuation of this "Where's Echo" kind of line that we started in the first one. But I mean, obviously it's Clone Wars. I mean, you could jump around to different things quite a bit, but they're really honing in on this. So I guess before we get too much in the episode, how about some predictions for episode 3? Do you think they're going to continue this, or do you think they're going to jump to something different?
No, I think we'll get a full trilogy for Echo. I would kind of like to just get it over with, honestly. Not that I don't enjoy it, but
okay.
I would like to just keep that all and then move on to a new story afterwards.
Okay.
Personally. Hoping for.
Yeah, and I do think that that's probably going to be the name of the game. Which is fine. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people that the clones are not really their interesting part for Clone Wars. Like, obviously it's the Clone Wars, so there's clones, but it's not necessarily a lot of folks' favorite part. They want to talk about Anakin, they want to talk about Obi-Wan. They want to talk about the Jedi, basically. And I think that it's nice to drop in clone episodes. I'll be honest with you. Probably the only thing that I didn't like was when we had like a droid episode. That wasn't my favorite part. I don't know what you thought about droid episodes.
No, not a big fan of those. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's kind of funny for kids and they're entertaining, but
right.
They're not for me.
Yeah, and again, I can't remember what I was listening to this week, but there was a lot of like critical stuff. And to be honest, even our conversation that will come out on Monday regarding Project Luminous, at times we could be a little critical, but that was more in the administration of things, not so much the content. But again, like we've said this progressively, we all have to remember that this is technically supposed to be built for kids, younger folks. It's fantasy. It's an all-encompassing world, and you're to get wrapped up in that is great. We obviously love to theorize and jump in there, face first. But at the same token, I think little grains of salt here. The droid episodes, like you said, I mean, sometimes the kids that are watching those can be very fun. And then you see another episode where like somebody's cut in half. But hey, whatever.
That's okay. It's kind of like when, we watched cartoons growing up and there were subtle adult jokes. Yeah. It's just they didn't go subtle with this one.
Yeah. It's more violence than innuendo. So I guess so. Spoiler. Even though I was kind of listening to you there, I was like, I wonder if I should say spoilers now. I kind of maybe should have, but I mean, y'all know that when we do these, this is a run through of the episode. It is a spoiler review. So, if you don't want to hear anything in depth about the episode, obviously now's the point to turn off and then return back when you've watched the episode. So yeah, let's kind of run through here. A plan is presented to the Jedi Council to, I doubt it was necessarily. Do you think it was represented that we're going to go save Echo or just like figure out this algorithm thing?
I think they probably worked it in such a way that made it seem very strategical and had nothing to do with Echo when they talked to the council.
Yeah, probably so. And we have Anakin and Hunter, right, from the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
So they have a little bit of a talk, and we get a little part here where it's like, well, we have to go do something. Rex is like, what? We don't have time. We don't have time for that. So I actually
do.
Yeah. Yes, we do. No. Yes, we do. So that was, little bits of humor. I kind of like Anakin humor because he can be so like straight faced a lot of times. And then, he's like, yes, we have time for this, Rex. And just, you got to think about it from like Hunter's sort of perspective. It's like, what are these guys up to?
What is going on here?
What are they doing?
And that's actually one of my favorite things of Clone Wars is we get some humor from Anakin that we never got in the movies. I mean,
yeah,
I shouldn't say that. We got some good humor in Revenge of the Sith, him and Obi-Wan bickering, but Clone Wars, we didn't really get that. So
yeah, I mean, you're right, because it was basically little kid Annie and then teenage like Padawan Anakin, who was just sort of like riling against the man, and then you have, the final form before Darth Vader, and he's kind of getting dark, and this is that in between of a kid and a man. And, he has a personality, and that's really, it's refreshing to see.
Yeah.
So they sneak off to Rex's barracks here, and Anakin gets out a little holo emitter so he can have a conversation with General Grievous because he's turning on them already. So that was a surprise. I never thought that he would.
The one, reveal that we were talking about.
Yeah, I never thought that in a million years. But no, he actually dials up Padme. So we get a little conversation with Padme.
She's super preggers at this point. I don't know if you noticed that.
Well, I wouldn't say super on it. I mean, you can kind of.
She's showing.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously more than like 2 weeks or anything like that, but definitely does appear that she's showing at this point. And I don't know what you thought about this, but like we're showing that Padme really, really knows Anakin, like to a point where it's almost like the Force. Like she senses when there's something wrong. And even as they're talking, she's like, well, kind of like what's wrong is like, oh, no, it's like, and then they get into talking about how Anakin is worried about Rex. And I actually thought that was really interesting because like you kind of get married couples out there who, when they're married, they just have a connection where they sort of can, I need, toilet paper's over there type of deal. So they definitely have, it seems to be a really good connection. What would you sort of think about that conversation?
Yeah, no, that was a really refreshing conversation to have. It was pretty cool. We kind of go in depth. He thought this was going to be a very short campaign, ending up being a full siege. And we get a smart comment, well, that's what a siege is. What you expect. You expect it to single-handedly resolve the conflict very quickly.
Right.
Really cool conversation. The interaction with Obi-Wan and Rex was kind of weird, very awkward.
Right, and basically Rex's whole like job during this time is just to be a lookout at the door, and here comes Obi-Wan, and what's Anakin doing in there? He's inspecting my gear. Yeah, spot checks. That's what he's doing. Okay.
Yes, of course the sergeant's in there. Sergeant.
Yeah, you're going to have to do better than that. And I think another thing that we've talked about and other folks have talked about is sort of Obi-Wan's level of understanding about what's going on between Anakin and Padme. And when Anakin sort of stalks off, because you can tell, I mean, he's probably a little embarrassed. Obviously, Rex is a little embarrassed. They're clearly hiding something. And he says, as they're leaving, he's like, did you at least tell Padme I said hi?
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty clear that he's known for a long time. He understands that. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the psychology with Obi-Wan, because we all know that he had this relationship with Satine. And he says in Clone Wars that he, would have basically left the Jedi Order for her at one point. And, there clearly was love there. And, so do you think he's giving Anakin leeway because of his experiences? Because he's clearly not telling on him.
I mean, I think he is giving him leeway, but I feel like he's given him leeway in many areas, with their relationship. The age difference kind of makes it hard because when you think about it, they're not that far apart. So when he became his master, I mean, he was barely a Jedi at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of more like brothers than master and apprentice.
Yeah, pretty much. He's not the role model that Qui-Gon was for him. He's not a shining example of what it is to be a Jedi. Not that he's a bad Jedi, it's just he understands where Anakin's coming from.
Well, a
little bit more than most people would.
He learned a lot from Qui-Gon, though, so I think there's a lot more flexibility with Obi-Wan, whereas, like, if you would have taken the personality of Obi-Wan from the early parts of Master and Apprentice, that relationship would have been very different because he was very rigid at the beginning of that book.
Yeah.
But then he was able to understand where his master was coming from, see a different side of things. And obviously the humor, the sort of sarcasticness, all the hello there's and everything, he's clearly fully formed his own personality, which is not necessarily the same as you would see from most masters. So,
yeah.
So then moving on, we have the okay for the mission, and we continue to see the Bad Batch here. We're going to our planet that we located in the archives to find Echo, in quotations, or an algorithm. They don't quite know. We do get, and I remember his name now, Admiral Trench.
Yeah.
I think I might have called him like...
an episode with him right after we did that review. I was like, come on.
I think we called him like General Spider, so we weren't even in the right military branch either. So anyway, so we have him calling up the what was it, the Techno Guild or Techno Alliance? What was that?
The Techno Union.
The Techno Union. Yeah. It just sounds like a disco thing. Like,
I know.
We're mixing up sick beats over here. So they have
my Techno use.
Yeah. So they kind of have a bit of immunity or through the business line of things, but they are behind the scenes.
On the business side.
Right. But they are behind the scenes working for the Separatists, and they are the ones that are effectively, housing, again, in quotations, Echo at this point, and feeding this information to Trench and the rest of the Separatists to try and defeat our Jedi and clone friends. So we get the Bad Batch, we have Rex, we have Anakin, and I am glad that they included Anakin in this mission.
Yes.
I think
we definitely didn't get much of it in the first episode. So
yeah, I think it could have it easily could have not been Anakin, but I'm glad that they put him in there. It made a lot of sense, and then this even ties back to what Padme said. It's like you just got to be there for him. So I think there was no way he wasn't going after that. So they are clones and Anakin fly in. They're trying to be stealthy, but they wind up on the planet which has its own inhabitants. Do you remember what the inhabitants were called?
Jeez.
It's fine. We don't have to remember.
Raccos or something like that. I'm guessing here now at this point. I heard it, but I can't think of it.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But anyway, Tech basically says, they worship flying lizards, and then in comes a flying lizard with a guy on it. So they actually kidnap Anakin. They grab him, which is always a theme. That guy can't stay out of trouble. And
of course, they dropped his lightsaber in the process.
Oh, of course, it's your life, Anakin. You gotta pay better attention to it. But yeah, well, okay.
I've always wondered how much force effort it would take to grab your lightsaber as you drop it, especially when you see that you're dropping it. But I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's just too much effort.
Maybe. I don't know. So we do get what's the big clone's name?
Wrecker.
So we get Wrecker. Crosshair shoots like a grapnel line onto the our winged lizard, and Wrecker basically goes for a little ride. They are able to rescue Anakin and communicate with this species through Tech, who is able to not only translate the language but also speak it back. Yeah. And it was funny because recently I did an episode with my friend Chase over at These Are the Voyages, which is a Star Trek podcast, which you guys should all listen to if you would like. And when I was doing a rewatch of The Next Generation, there was an episode where there were these it was a species that were essentially like computers. So they spoke in binary language. I mean, they spoke English, but then they also spoke in this binary kind of like weird language, which sounded a lot like what these folks on this planet spoke. So I was like, oh, that sounds sort of familiar. So that was interesting. Little parallel there. Probably not the same thing, obviously, but you never know. Clap tracks.
It's a very unique language for Star Wars universe, at least. I did like it. It was kind of cool.
It was interesting, but clap tracks that you hear on like sitcoms. I think I was reading this. I believe, if I remember correctly, like most of those were recorded in like the 50s or the 60s. So you're literally listening to people clapping that are dead.
Yeah.
There's your morbid fact of the day. Do 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 do. So we are able to rescue Anakin. We're able to communicate with the species here, and they are going to send them with some scouts to basically go continue their mission. They just didn't want war on their planet, and it's like, well, we didn't bring the war here. That was the separatists. We just need to come here, do our thing, and get out. So they do find the base, which is a big lift, and we figure out that Wrecker is afraid of heights. I mean, it's kind of random.
Not that I'm afraid of heights. It's just when I get up high, I have an issue with gravity.
Yeah. So that was kind of odd. But they go up this big lift. They get into the facility. They're trying all the doors. They're being attacked by those kind of weird, spindly looking droids.
Yeah. Didn't quite like those droids. They were kind of strange.
Well, they sucked. I mean, they weren't good at all. I mean, you'd think this Techno Union
mobile.
I just didn't get it. I mean, even when towards the end we have an encounter with many of them, they're just not, they're not good. So no. As you said, we do get kind of a cool little bit of fight scene here, and the fight scenes seem to be more intricate than they have been. They go up the lift, they're trying to do stealth, and then they see a couple of droids, and Wrecker just kind of goes nuts. But it was cool to see their individual fighting tactics, because you got to showcase this a little bit here, right?
Yeah, for sure. Adam, you don't see much from Tech, but as far as the rest of them, which one is your favorite in a fight to watch?
I mean, I personally, out of all of them, I like Crosshair, because he's just sarcastic, and he's kind of an a-hole, honestly.
When we see that in this episode when he talks back to Rex, actually.
And this was a thing where, and I think this was before they entered the facility, but he basically was like, says to Rex, it's like, oh yeah, and you left this guy behind. He's like, I didn't want to. I didn't have a choice. Like, yeah, I would have left him, or I would have left him for dead too if it were me.
Yeah,
and just
a normal reg.
Right. Yeah, just a normal reg, exactly. So he's not a nice dude, but he clearly supports everybody. But I think this is just part of being the Bad Batch, is being outcast, kind of having that chip on your shoulder. So, but I probably like him the best. Which one is your favorite so far?
I definitely like Crosshair. I'm always into snipers. I do like Hunter with his knife, though. I think that's kind of fun, to watch him just demolish droids with that little vibro axe type knife,
Yeah, and I know. Right, and I know his superpower is supposed to be his, map thing, which has not been displayed at all. But he also seems to have more agility, maybe more speed, more athleticism as well than a standard droid. Would you say that that's accurate?
I would say so. You see him flip quite a bit, and you don't see that with fully garbed troopers too often. So
yeah, so maybe there's more to it, but that whole map thing, they said it sounded dumb, they made fun of it, and then it's never been used.
Yeah, so it'll be pretty interesting to see how they finally incorporate that in,
or if they even
better
will.
Be good.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe they already trashed the idea.
Yeah. So at this point, again, we have our clones and Anakin and all of them split up. They're searching all the doors. They're kind of being ambushed, but making it out. Crosshair does sort of save Anakin a bit from a droid. Shoots him before he can.
Yeah, that scene just showcases how useless those droids are, because really they should have had Anakin.
Right.
I mean, he was pretty well screwed in the situation.
Well, he was boxed into a very tight space, and you have your lightsaber, but maneuvering in that space would be pretty hard because
focused on one side. So
yeah,
and they didn't even shoot unless he was facing them. It was just kind of stupid.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily great, but so we get that part, and then finally they do find the door where the signal's coming from. And that was another thing that Tech discovered. He was like, it kept popping on and off, and they kept thinking, oh, this is a trap. It's totally a trap. But then, he's like, Tech sort of starts thinking, it's like, oh, wait a second. I would only be able to figure, have the signal if they're sending transmissions. If they're not sending transmissions, I'm not going to get data. So they kind of figure that out. The sense of a trap is maybe alleviated a little bit. They finally find the door where the signal's coming from. And then, they talk a little bit to the leader of the old Techno Union. And, he flat out tells Rex, he's like, your friend's dead, but we have his mind.
Yeah.
So that was, I don't know. It kind of puts you in two minds. Like, well, are we going to see like the old brain spiders from like Jabba's palace? There's nothing left, or what?
Right. Well, I went back and rewatched the episode where he dies because I was kind of forgetting. I was blurry on how he's killed. And he's in an explosion. He's getting onto a transport and it explodes from an turret fire. So you see his helmet charred and laying off to the side at the end. So implication is I doubt he survives this. So up until the very last second, you're really questioning what's going on here.
Exactly. So then they're surrounded by droids again. And are you really worried? Probably not.
Air quotes around it.
Yeah. Hunter throws his knife out there. He starts doing his flippy stuff. Anakin comes through and pushes a bunch of them. Force pushes a bunch of them. They destroy all the droids. And the Techno Union folks are like not even here. Like we don't even get to see them physically in person. I mean, along with the clones, like it seems like they were out like a long time ago. They're like, have it. I don't care. We don't care. We're leaving.
Yeah.
So
if they were even there, might have all just been droid.
True.
Man, you never know.
Yeah, very true. Because the kind of the command center that we see them in when Trench calls them up is not the same place where we eventually wind up here. So very true. Yeah. They might not have, this might have just all been automated, which is, I don't know, kind of odd. It's like you're putting a lot of, they didn't even have like any, like, I don't know, super battle droids or droid to or destroyer. They didn't have anything. They just had these weird spindly droids. Yeah, that just seemed kind of, it's like they're not really serious. Maybe they just, it's totally secret. Nobody will ever find out about it or whatever. It just seemed odd. Or could be something else. We'll talk about that here at the end, though. So Tech's able to open the door. Crosshair does say, I hope you find what you're looking for. And Rex and Tech head into the room where we see sort of some sort of little isolation chamber here. They're able to open it, and there's Echo. He actually is alive, although
Darth Maul.
Yeah, not doing too well. He's got metal legs and robotic legs, and he's looking super pale, but he is able to communicate. Like I actually thought that was fairly quick, but they're able to kind of unplug him, and he looks at he's kind of reenacting his last act. I got to get to the shuttle. Yeah. And then finally he realizes it's Rex. He's Rex. You came back for me. So kind of.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if Echo has been sort of living in that one moment, or if he's been cognizant of anything he's been doing since then, because he seems very disoriented.
Probably been on the entire time, essentially. I would say.
Yeah.
Also, kind of noticed. I think they might have used a different voice actor for him.
I don't know. I guess I'd have to go back and because I thought it sounded. Yeah, I don't know.
He just kind of sounded a little different to me.
Huh. So, okay.
Could be real.
Well, I'll have to go back and look and maybe see, give it another viewing, see if that's the way I can hear it as well. So anyway, that was basically the end of the episode. We're getting you out of here, and away we go, and in comes the music. So I guess my only question is are they potentially bringing like a bomb back?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is like
for some way of surveying wherever he goes. some kind of infiltration device,
or even just a tracking device or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I couldn't imagine they would do all this and put all this stock into him and just let him go that easily. So.
Yeah, that was one of my first thoughts. Is like, is he programmed somehow that maybe if they give him a little trust, he can hack into a terminal or has some sort of tracking on him, or is going to go ballistic or whatever. I feel like you said, it felt a little too easy.
Yeah, I'd be replacing those legs if I were, if I were them.
No doubt, man. No doubt. So yeah, decent episode. You get to see a little bit more of the Bad Batch. I think we're definitely hoping to see some other stuff coming up, but like we kind of said in the beginning, kind of feel like we might wrap up this Echo thing in 3 episodes and then continue on from there. But here's looking at episode 2 and looking forward to episode 3. So any other big thoughts you had about the episode at all?
Not really. I feel like it's a very cut and dry episode. Not necessarily in a bad way, but didn't leave a lot of questions. Really, they could end the Echo, story now. Where we're at, we would have some questions. Hard to say. So, but overall, a very good episode. I'm glad we didn't have to wait too long for the reveal to find out what happened to him.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you there. I don't know. I think I pretty much expounded my thoughts on it. A decent episode. I guess just for me right now, I just really want to kind of get back into Ahsoka. I kind of want to get back into some Jedi stuff. I'm cool with the clones, but I just kind of want to see some Jedi stuff. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
And I feel like most people feel the same way, especially with Ahsoka. So.
True. Well, folks, we're gonna wrap this up here. A little, kind of not quite our normal long episodes, but every Friday and or Saturday we will get you some Clone Wars coverage as the season continues to chug along, and hopefully you enjoyed yourselves here. If you have any sort of theories or want to discuss anything Clone Wars, you can hit us up on Facebook. Find us and follow us on Twitter at TC Plan Podcast, or just send us an email to tcplanpodcast@gmail.com if you want to do any long form. That's a good place to send it. So I guess just for me, I will say have a great rest of your week.
Yes, and as always, may the Force be with you.